Hello everybody and welcome. Today we are going to discuss the solution to the problem maximum profit in job scheduling. It's a hard rated problem and rightfully so. It involves a couple of concepts which will slowly break down and observe step by step. First, let's talk about the problem itself. You're given n jobs in total. You're given start time, end time and profit of each job. These are three separate lists of length n each. The goal is to find a function f such that you can return an integer. This integer is the maximum profit you can get from scheduling these jobs in a proper order. Now this proper order is actually was the goal of this problem. You just have to return the maximum profit once you have scheduled them in the right way. First thing we'll do is for setup, we'll actually convert these all of these three lists into one single giant list of jobs. This will have the start of I, end of I and the profit of I. Basically meaning that for ith job has start of I, end of I and profit of I in a tuple. This is just for the sake of convenience. There's one more thing that we observe. Scheduling matters. In fact, the question mentions job scheduling. So we somehow need to have a particular order in which we can go about things, in which we can schedule things. Sorting is important, and so we'll go ahead and sort by the start of I. The starting time of each job is going to define how and where is going to be sorted. This will become later on very important, as I'll show. Third is the recursion point. Look at this question again. It says maximum, it says profit, and it says scheduling. At least scheduling and maximum should point you towards recursion. Recursion is a very common approach to all of these kind of problems where you have to find one particular way out of many possible ways, and you can use and exploit the properties of recursion and dynamic programming. This is one of those questions. So with these three things in mind, let's go to the core logic of the problem. First is the fact that there are non-overlapping segments. The question mentions that all of these schedules have to be non-overlapping, which means that if a person has taken up this job right here, he will get the profit 20. But at the same time, until and unless this job ends right here, this person cannot take up any more jobs. So this job right here, 40, will get cancelled out. We can't take this. This job of 5 cost, 5 profit will also get cancelled out. This looks like a bad thing, but it's actually making life simpler for us. There are these two cases which we'll never have to consider because we've already reached this point and we've exhausted our start times of both of these cases. We can directly jump onto this one. Jump? Well, jumping is another feature of our problem statement. If you look at it, well, we start from this point. We don't have to consider this 5 and 40 pieces. We can directly jump here. And that's great, but at the same time, how do you find the next place to jump on? How do you find that this is the place I can jump on? How can I do that? In the most trivial case, you'll have to iterate over each and every single case and then finally reach here. But there's one thing that's happening. Look at this. Look at this. We have all of these start times sorted. This start time sorted means that we can jump. We can do a binary search and we can jump right away. We'll ask, hey, who is the person who is starting from a start time that is greater than this end point here? Basically, we're asking, hey, who is the one available where we can jump to? And once we find that, we can directly jump to that point. No need to do a linear search here. Right? We can do it in order of log n time, and that's easy peasy. Great. Now let's talk about the naive solution. The naive solution says that, you know what, you can either pick up a job or skip it. You can either include it or exclude it. You can either take up that job, do it, and you will get the profit. And when you get the profit, then you will want to jump onto the next available job. Okay, you can do that, you can include that, and that is one possible case. Or you can choose to exclude it. In that case, you will get 0 profit of that job, but you can move on to the very next job. So let's say in this case, You pick up this job 20, so you'll have to move here, and then from here you'll have to jump here. However, if you decide to skip this case, if you decide to skip this 20 case, you can move on to the next job. So 20 is not taken up, the next available is 40. And now you can look at 40. What if 40 gives you a better answer? In this case, that is true. If you start from the 40 point, if you skip this 21, you'll move on to here. And then from here, you will again move on to here, giving a total score of 40 plus 50, 90. And that's much better than 20 plus 50. So having this option to exclude a particular job is also a good idea. So you'll get 0 profit from that particular job, and you can move on to the next sequential available job. And that is it. Let's piece all of these together and we'll get the solution. Okay, so jobs is going to be a sorted list of start, end, and profit, sorted by start obviously, and this will be taken care internally by Python. Now we will start our counting or considerations from the job 0, and for each job I, for each index I, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to first find this guy, which is the maximum of DP of I plus 1, which is saying that I skip over this particular job, get a profit of 0, and skip over the I plus 1th job, the next sequentially available job. Or I could consider the profits of this, do the job, and this, by the way, 2 is only representing this profit part. I could just instead write profit here. This will help us in implementation, so I've written like that. And now we'll move on to the new I. This new I is not the same as the end here. You should perhaps first be confused about why we're not using this new I, and then you'll realize that I mentioned when we end here, the new I is not going to be this point. It's actually going to be this point where we do a binary search and jump to the right point. And so this new I is going to be a binary search in the start times list, and will ask for the job of I and 1. Basically, we're asking, get me where this job ends, get me this point, get me in the start list. This is, by the way, the end marker. So I want to search for a value which starts. I want to look for a job which starts when this one ends. I want to look for this job where it starts after this ends. Should make sense now. I'll pause it right here. Feel free to pause it right here. And that is pretty much it. Now we can just code this up. I know it's a hard problem, but the code is actually pretty dumb easy. Okay, we'll have a jobs, which is a sorted list of what? A sorted list of zipped of start time, end time, and profit. Easy. This sorts automatically by the start time list. We'll also need start time to be written out separately, which is going to be the item 0 for item in jobs. Let's just call it jobs. Job here. Okay, great. What this means is we have jobs as this giant list of start, end, and profit tuple. What we'll do here is extract out the first element of all of them and keep them in start times. This, by the way, then also means that start time is automatically sorted without us having to do another sort operation. Great. We'll also extract out n, which is going to be the length of start times. And then we'll return the dp of 0. This dp is going to be a function here. Okay, what does this mean? This means that we're starting from the job 0 and we'll start our considerations from job 0. That is the best possible case. Okay. Now what we want to do? We want to first check if I is greater than equals to n. If that is the case, then we have exhausted all the available jobs. Basically meaning that this pointer is right now somewhere around here. So there's nothing more available. We'll exit and say that you get a profit of 0 for doing that. We'll also have this answer right here, which is going to be what? Which is going to be this guy, the dp of I plus 1 and this entire thing. Okay, we'll have dp of I plus 1, the maximum of this, and the jobs of I, we'll take out the ith job, which is the current job, and we'll complete this job taking a profit mentioned at this second place, as well as move on to the new location, dp of new I. How do you find this new I? New I is going to be what the binary search. So we'll do bisect dot bisect left of this list start time, and we'll find the element jobs of I1. Bisect left means that I'm going to find the this one job right here. Feel free to pause if this is confusing. This question is like, this is pretty much it. This is the entire solution to the question. I'm not kidding. This is the entire solution. We'll also do LRU cache as none, and we're done. So what did we do here? This question was basically a whole lot of observations combined and stacked on top of each other. First, we realized that, you know what, all of these point to the same job. These three lists mean the same job, so why not combine all of them? We also realized that scheduling matters, so we'll sort them with start times. This, by the way, is not given in the question already, so we'll have to do it on our own. We'll sort them by their start I points. Then recursion was obvious since the hint was maximum and scheduling. Then we looked at the non-overlapping part of it, which reduces the number of cases we need to search, easing our search. Then we have jumping operation here, which allows us to not do a linear search but a binary search, bringing down the order of complexity from order of n to log n, which is a lot better. Then we discussed the naive solution, how we're actually applying just naive solution. We're just doing a DP on top of it, and that's it. The solution at our heart is a naive solution actually. We're doing the exact logic defined here. We either include or exclude, as we see here. Either exclude it here or include the profit and the new case here. And that is it. That brings us to the end of this video and this explanation of the problem maximum profit in job scheduling. This was a hard rated problem, so don't feel bad if you couldn't solve it in the first go. And yeah, the code is available. I'll make it in the description below. And yeah, if you have any comments, feedbacks or suggestions, let me know. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this video, give it a double thumbs down to really let me know. And as always, thanks for watching.